This week, I am the victim, and so, like most weeks.
The victim of what?
I was going to go into...
Sorry, go ahead, keep going. This week, you're the victim. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of On the Verge. We're here, and Dennis is clearly ready for spring break. He has his cutoff...
Bro tank. Yeah, he's a total bro. Saturdays are for the boys, for him.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Saturdays are for the boys.
We are so glad that you guys have tuned into another episode. We have a lot of super fun stuff planned for you, and we are continuing our study with James.
Now we're going to transition to time where I'm the victim, and we're going to be going into hot wings. So if Andrew can bring up some chicken nuggets disguised as hot wings with hot sauce, to what Sam's going to ask me some questions about my life and things that I apparently value.
So you can see all of these array of sauces we have here. Foster, I've been hearing from people that these aren't really hot. Well, you were the one who went to the grocery store. Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose to not pick hot sauces?
Backstory. So up till I was about 12 years old, I thought ketchup was spicy.
Okay.
So I'm actually coughing just thinking about the spice. And so when I went to the store, they had assortments of everything. And so I was trying to find stuff that I thought looked hot to me. And apparently, I have no idea what I'm doing.
And they weren't out of hot sauce, right? Because Foster called and was like, they're out of hot sauce. There's none here. And I was like, in, like, the aisle, like, everyone's buying all the hot sauce? Like, the toilet paper and the hot sauce?
Yeah, they go together, honestly. But, yeah, I don't know where to look for hot sauce. I looked for 4 aisles to find the baking aisle, and I passed it 4 times.
Yeah, Strex is kind of confusing.
I also man-looked, apparently.
That happens, too. So we're going to get started. Go ahead and eat your first chicken wing. Maybe we can get some milk and water for Foster, because he's, not okay. But we know that you're a big reader. So what are you currently reading right now? Maybe, like, your study, like, in the Bible, and then also, like, leisure.
That's all right, hot. Yeah, so I'm actually going through a few different things. So the book of Daniel, I just finished, and talking about end times, crazy things, and which a lot of us are kind of experiencing that right now, thinking, like, what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I'm going through creationism, evolutionism, and the intelligent design argument to see what other people believe and their different perspectives on it. And lastly, I'm reading Decoding the American Mind, which is all about the... Sorry, I'm already I'm crying over this. Talking about just how society, how they go through subjective moralism and why they think the way they think.
Wow. I don't understand half of what you just said, but we're going to move on. Eat your next wing. What was the first concert that you ever attended? Do you need a napkin?
The first, concert, I'm going to, say I attended as me individually. I grew up and went to some stuff with my parents. But I remember I went to Rock on the Range in Columbus, Ohio. And right when we get there, I was 18. Me and my buddy just graduated high school. We drove out there together. And right as we get there, my buddy drops into the mosh pit. Right when he gets there, a guy looked at him and punched him right in the face. And it was just like, terrible. He fell down, he started bleeding. And then I started crowd surfing, to which my shirt was ripped off my body. And I was thrown to the front of the mosh pit where people were just going crazy, and they did like a wall of death. And I grew up homeschooled, so immediately I was just like, oh man, from nothing to something, man. It was nothing.
That's awesome. We went from all the way over here to got your shirt ripped off in a mosh pit. So
yeah.
Okay, well go ahead and have your next wing there. And can you just tell me what success means to you?
They're all worse.
I heard this one was the best. You're actually eating the most mild one of them all.
No. Success means to me is just to be able to be faithful to wherever you're at. And so us being in Christ, if you are in Christ, He never calls you to reach your potential. He just calls you to be faithful.
Yeah.
So what do I mean by that is you could, by any means, like, and if you're talented in some way, like business, to art, and you can make all the most money and everything, but God is more satisfied when you're faithful where you're at.
Yeah.
And so that means if you are in your current situation, your friend groups, or anything, you're just faithfully chugging away, he's more pleased with how you respond faithfully there than if you're going to undermine people to get to the top.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about that.
It's really good. We're getting deep here on hot wings. Go ahead and have the
green
next
looks
one,
cool.
the jalapeno spicy something. If someone were to play you in a movie, who would you want it to be?
I would totally love if Paul Blart were to play me.
He's the worst.
Just
Can we get a napkin?
Paul Blart, I think would be okay. He would think it's like funny wise. I think I would love my idol. You use
In
a
the
lot
hot
of
sauce.
the idol in my life is David Beckham. I think he's the coolest person in the world, and I would love if he could play me, and people can see like he's cooler than me. So I'd love if he could do it. But if Paul Blart could be me, that'd be amazing.
You just wipe into your hands with that, and then are wiping your eyes.
Yeah.
This is great. So, okay, Paul Blart, and then David Beckham.
Yes.
Okay. If you didn't have to sleep.
Do I need to take another one
Yes,
of these?
please do. If you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with your spare time?
Oh. I would. There's a lot of things I would love to learn how to do. So I often tell my wife, Emily, like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm full almost crying right now.
I can't tell if you're getting emotional.
I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I would totally love to learn how to scuba dive.
Okay.
I would love to learn how to bake. I love Food Network. And all baking competitions, like the whole like shaking like in the bowl. I would love to learn how to do those things. This hurts. Okay.
This isn't a question, so you can hold up on the wing.
Okay.
But have you ever baked anything before?
Yes, I baked one thing so far in my life. I shouldn't say that one thing, but one thing that stands out to me. I tried making my wife Emily brownies, and it said 3 tablespoons of oil to put in there. But I actually put 3 quarts or something of oil in it. like the only thing like this much oil, but I ended up having this much oil, and I put it in there. I was super proud of them, and Emily got sick and they were terrible, and she hated them. Yeah.
It's an emotional thing for you.
Yeah.
And lastly, what's your favorite book and why?
read this?
Yes, please do.
Outside the Bible,
I was just gonna say, we'll assume the Bible.
my favorite book is Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh.
Just in general. Like, I'm a huge Potterhead. I love Harry Potter, but Chronicles of Narnia is a series that you read that and you'll cry about how beautiful this is written and everything. So I absolutely love it. Chronicles of Narnia, where it's at.
Wow, just like you're crying over the hot sauce. Well, thank you guys so much for bearing with us as Foster took on all of the hot sauce. We are going to transition now into our study of James.
We're hopping back into James here, continuing this idea of remaining steadfast in trials and what all that means. We're really excited. And Foster might have to run off and go to the bathroom.
I'm being steadfast right now.
Yeah, under trial.
Under
But
trial.
We're going to make it. It's going to be all right. But if you're following along, we are going to be in James 1, verses 16 to 27, diving into a couple little things that we can pull out of these few verses. But just wanted to start that this whole situation, nobody saw this coming, nobody expected this to come, right? Definitely could be considered a trial. I think a lot of us stuck at home with siblings we really struggle with parents we might have issues with. But God has something to say to us in this section here, and I'm really excited to see what you guys have pulled out of this. So, Foster, what are you seeing in these first few verses of James?
Yeah, so we're starting in verse 16, and one thing particularly I see is he says, "Don't be deceived, brothers, because every good and perfect gift is from above." And without getting too much of the details, in the Greek, as you read this, it shows you there are 2 different words there. You know, those 2 different words for gift communicate the idea of giving the gift to the gift itself. And so during this thing, God says when he gives something, how he gives it is just as good or as important as the object he is giving to someone. So in light of this, the coronavirus, it's God given us opportunities to have quality time with family members. We wouldn't have picked it through a pandemic in society.
I see what you're talking about.
But we see that God using it as still good. Yeah, we don't like it that people are hurting or sick. But when we look at this, as it said, there's every good and perfect gift is from above. How God's using this, it's we can't say it's like we don't want to waste it as He's given us, because then as it goes on, there's no variation. It doesn't matter if you're high income family, a low income family, to wherever you are in the spectrum, we're all affected by the coronavirus.
Absolutely.
And so we're all in the same house. And so He says He gives it without variation. And so we're all in this situation where we're together. And so how God has put us there is just as good as any other way He would give it. And so how are we going to use it is what I'm seeing.
This is something that obviously God has ordained, and we need to see it as a blessing and an opportunity to be used in the midst of it, right, Bill?
Absolutely, and one of the things I'm seeing in my own life is has slowed me down to a certain point.
That's good.
I have more time that I can spend in the Word, and I'm hoping our students are doing the same thing at home. They don't have the craziness of the schedule where, the demands of every day, go, go, go. They can now stop. So they got to look at this as saying, this is a blessing in spite of maybe that sibling. And for me also, one of the things that has really been beneficial in my life, I'm starting to learn all sorts of new technology that I've never known before.
Blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, God does use any and every situation to kind of shape us into the person of Jesus Christ if we are indwelt with the Spirit. But in this, we have, I think, two different camps here, and we have an opportunity to do this well, and we have an opportunity to do this situation poorly. And as James is working through here, we get into this section starting in verse 19. It's this distinction of hearers and doers. And so maybe you can flesh that out a little bit, Foster. What's the difference between a hearer and doer?
A hearer and a doer essentially is when someone receives information, is what do you do with it? And so here practically it's the real you comes out really when you're pressed. And so I just imagine this cylinder that's just full of so much pressure. And as it's pressed and when something finally breaks it, it's like, what's going to be that breaking point? And here it's being a hearer and doer when you're around close proximities with your family members or friends. And when you're isolated, it's how are you going to be a doer of the word and what you know? Because it goes into later when it says, the man who is not a doer, it's like a guy who looks in a mirror and then forgets what he sees. So basically, in a sense, that's teaching you, it's do you just go carelessly around your house being mindful of only yourself? Or are you going to use this as an opportunity to be a doer for someone else? Because if you can look in the mirror and know what you actually see, you can be confident in who you are to go serve someone else. You don't have to keep looking back and say, how's my hair? Or how am I looking? Do I look on point? It's just like, no, see it, move on, serve someone else.
I love that phrase, like the real us comes out under pressure. Do you guys remember, did you play with Play-Doh growing up?
Yeah.
Those like things you'd like push the Play-Doh through and like back.
Yeah.
But it only came out under pressure, and I think a lot of us are pressured right now in different ways. And what's coming out? What's coming out of us? It really shows the inner us. What do you think about being a hearer versus a doer, Bill?
I think it's really about the authenticity in our life. Are we what we say we are? And this is a time that really proves. Are we living our faith or are we not? And this is a good test for us.
I agree. And James kind of closes here on this section. We're talking about being a doer of the word and not just a hearer of the word. Lastly, he shows what does an actual true doer of the word, someone who's indwelt with the Spirit of Jesus Christ, what does that look like? And here it talks about in verse 27, religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this, to visit orphans and widows in their affliction and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Now, visiting is a little difficult right now, right, Foster? So what's actually behind this verse? What is James trying to tell us?
Yeah, so first it's figuring out what's the word religion. James is using that word throughout his letter and in context to mean basically active faith. So when you read religion here, think active faith, what someone's doing. So someone's active faith is pointless if it doesn't do this. That's how you read it. And so then it lists orphans and those who are afflicted and widows. That is the context he's writing, because those are his people, but gives us an example of what type of people we should go serve. And in that context, it's people who can't give you anything back.
Yeah.
So here, it's just like, yeah, coronavirus, don't go to your local nursing home. It's like, don't do that. It's right now, rather. But in your house, who can you serve who can't necessarily serve you back in the way that you think they should? So you have a little brother, you have a mom, you have a dad, all those ways. It's like, how can you serve them who they can't particularly give you anything back?
And this is what James calls true religion, right?
Right. And I think, too, in this time, you know what, maybe grandma doesn't know how to work the internet or, have email.
good.
Why aren't you giving her a call? Why aren't, what about the lady next door? Find her phone number. Give her a call next door if she's old. How are we reaching out? How are we trying to make a difference in this time when we say, well, I'm not going to care for them? James is saying, do it,
Absolutely. Careful, Billy. Some of your students might call you.
They don't live close.
Oh, there we go. Hey, we are so glad to hear what God has to say to us through James, through this section of James. And we're excited to dig deeper next episode. But right now, we are going to head off to our next challenge. We'll see you guys.
So we are doing our challenge of the week. So all you need for this is a piece of paper, a blindfold of some sort, and a Sharpie. But we are going to be doing blindfold drawing of each other. So this
Of
is
each
Chris.
other?
Each other?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
So this over here is Chris from the Gary campus.
How y'all doing?
He's joining us today,
What's up,
and we are
Chris?
going to be drawing each other. So Chris, you're going to draw Foster.
Okay.
Foster, you're going to draw Scott.
Okay.
Scott, you're going to draw Chris.
Oh, Chris?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm drawing
so
Scott.
I hope
Man.
you guys know what each other looks like because I had you blindfold
I think I can
before
remember.
you did that. And make sure it's on the paper. These are permanent markers, and
Not on the
we
table.
cannot afford to get on the table. All right, and you have to do this in like 30 seconds or less.
Oh
so
my.
a
30
quick-
seconds?
It's a speed.
Hold on.
No.
I gotta think.
All right.
Piece of
Are you
cake.
guys ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Scott, do you wear contacts?
Sometimes.
Don't talk to each other.
Let's see.
Oh, my.
I forgot where the circle is. Oh, no.
Chris, you're a Marvel fan, right?
Of course.
And you got a Bears logo? I'm just controlling.
Yeah.
That looks like.
Wow, such detail.
Okay, he sings. You sing, Chris, right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Sing. Yeah, that's a microphone.
Chris, right now you don't have a neck, just so
I
you
don't
know.
have a neck.
And
Neck right there.
Okay.
Scott, your shirt is a crop top.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
And Foster, I don't really know what's happening.
I don't know where your face is, Chris. Where's your face? I hope I gave your face
I
in the
actually
right
never looked
spot.
at the paper, so I'm guessing it's a blank piece
All
of
right.
And you got shoes.
Is this blank piece of paper? 'Cause I
10
can't-
seconds.
I don't know. Oh,
I'm gonna give you the original Jordans, alright, Chris?
5,
Is that okay?
4, 3,
It's perfect.
2,
Can't
1.
improve.
Boom.
Can't improve on perfection.
Wow!
Hey, that's
Foster
a lot better than I
did 2
thought.
people.
That's a lot better than
You
I
have
thought.
a twin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, everyone hold up your drawings and show
You
them.
crushed it, Foster.
Hello.
My guy looks like a Picasso. He's all
I know.
disjointed.
It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So I tried to get you a little goatee,
Yeah.
but I
I
ended up
do.
stabbing your eyes. So yeah,
I do grow hair on my eyes sometimes. That happens.
that's your wife,
All right,
Bethany,
you
by the
guys.
way.
She's
Right.
way better looking than
So
me.
everyone pause your video, drop a comment below, and let us know whose you think was the best and most resembling their person. Remember, Chris was drawing Foster, Foster's drawing Scott, and Scott
What's
is
my
drawing
this?
Chris. All right, hopefully you
Nailed it,
have
Chris.
dropped
He
a
has a lot on
vote,
his mind,
and
so it made his head kind of
Yes, I see that.
He
I see
has so
that.
much on his mind with the.
That's
kind of
clear.
pandemic going on.
yeah.
I tried to give you a lot of accessories there,
It's
Chris.
You know, I
That's a
appreciate
Captain America shield.
it. Oh, see, that was a
You
good
know?
one. That's my favorite
There's
one.
your
too.
mic right
All
there.
right, you want to find out who won?
Oh yes, who's judging?
Me.
Judging. Here we go.
So, let me look a little closer. Okay,
Wait,
all right.
get mine in there so you remember.
So you're in there.
Honestly, I'm picking Scott's because there are a lot of
Let's
accessories
go!
to the microphone. So, Chris, you get to keep that.
Haven't you
won,
That's
like,
you,
two
frame
now?
it.
That's two.
Sorry.
That's two, boys.
HP
Wow.
coming in
Two.
clutch.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Sorry,
I didn't
Gary.
realize it was a competition.
Sandwich.
It's always a competition.
Drawing.
I know,
Sorry,
your sandwich,
Gary.
that was
I'll do
ridiculous.
better next time.
You want me to sign that, Chris? You want me to sign
Yeah, yeah, so put your
Yeah,
down.
Just gonna.
It's a really good signature.
Fancy.
Yeah, so-
All right, you guys, we are going to wrap it up for this week. We cannot wait to see you guys in a couple of days. We love you and we'll be praying for you. If you have any personal prayer requests that you want us to pray for, just send us a message. We'll talk to you guys soon.